Welcome to Giglog 3, where my focus will be using SoundSwitch at a wedding. I'll show you the setup in the software, how the hardware is set up at the gig, and how I connect my cold sparklers to SoundSwitch, and some of the typical things you would expect to find in a giglog. I just want to quickly show you a couple things in SoundSwitch. So I'm using a new light tonight called the OPPSK as part of like a gear review. I think they're an awesome light. So watch my review for that, link in the description below. And I'm using 4 of them, but they're all going to be using the same address. So this is my show for the gig. It's just a copy from my Wellsticks 180 show that I made for my pixel mapping video. It's made mostly of autoloops. All of my Bassmaster tracks are going to be the same, but this is more tailored for the OPPSK light bar. I didn't spend nearly as much time on this show, about an hour of modifying my original Wellstick show, but it's still a good show. I created some manual pixel mapping style effects in some of my autoloops, but I mostly used attribute keys to leverage some of the built-in effects. While I'm sure you could easily create your own show with the attribute cues, I'll put this on my website available for purchase for those that are wanting more of a plug-and-play solution with these lights. As there's only one, you can use as many of these OPPSK light bars as you want. There's 3 parameters that you can configure with attribute cues. The first one accesses the built-in shows that contain color and intensity. The second parameter only triggers intensity chases so you can set your own color, which is pretty cool if your auto loop contains a specific color scheme. The final parameter triggers the speed of the current chase. Don't mind the label. While speed could be in its own separate attribute queue, all of my attribute queues contain speed and chase information. But these things are extremely bright. So as you can see here, I have them set to group 3 so that when performance time comes, I can reduce the intensity because these are going to be a little bit above eye level, but these are going to blind people if they're just at full brightness all night. And I'm wanting these to be more of a pixel mappable eye candy effect. So I do want them to be bright and wash the dance floor, but not so much. So as you can see, I have this down here, and I'm probably going to adjust it when I get to the venue. Let's go back to our DMX map. And then I have my cold sparklers, and a lot of people are asking, like, how do you trigger this from SoundSwitch in the Control One? So you need to have a profile that says smoke and atmospheric. And if your model does not have that, you need to message SoundSwitch so that they can add it. And your Cold Spark machine may be different than mine. I'm just following the manual. I can hit this smoke button right here on my Control One, or you could do it in the software if you don't have a Control One, or you could even map this with an external Midi controller. But when you push this, this will control the cold sparklers, and I like having that level of control with them. And I'm also going to be creating a static look so that all my lights strobe. And I'll just show you how to do that real quick. So let's edit it. So let's select all the lights. Let's turn the intensity up. These lights have white. I think white looks great. Better than RGB mixed with white. And then I want these to strobe hardcore. So here's my OPPSK lights. It has 16 pixel mappable zones. So I want all of them to also be white and to be strobing. Let's turn intensity all the way up. Strobing all the way up. 299. And this does not have a white light, so we have to do the RGB mix. Let's go ahead and give this button a name. All strobe white. Okay. If I change the color of the button here, that will also show up on the Control One. Alright, and let's also create a cocktail hour scene. So during cocktail hour, I want all of my uplights to be this like antique white. So amber mixed with white. Intensity all the way, and we'll keep that strobe off. Alright, and then for this guy, I want the intensity to also be all the way up. And I can adjust this with that MIDI control like I showed you, so let's try to make like kind of an antique white like that. And Yeah, I don't have this hooked up, but we'll try this out. At the venue, we can change the color pretty easily. And I want there to be like a little bit of animation, just something slow and gradual. And we'll play with this when we get to the venue where I can actually see it. But yeah, we'll call this Dinner Cocktail Hour. Let's also reassign the color, so I'm making it like to antique white. Let's talk about how we trigger static scenes for a moment. There's a couple of ways to do it. The default way is press mode. Once it's pressed, the static scene is triggered and the effect is executed until you select another static scene or you press the button again. The other way is toggle mode. So that means when the button is being pressed down, the effect is executed. When you remove your finger, the effect stops. And that behavior is probably best for a strobe button. Now that we covered all the SoundSwitch software stuff, let's get to the venue and talk about the hardware. Tonight's gig will be at the Copper Nickel in Ogden, Utah. So here we go, we're all set up for the wedding. And tonight we're using SoundSwitch like I mentioned, and we are using 99% autoloops. We're not doing a grand entrance, I didn't script a special song for that. I do have a static scene program for dinner and cocktail hour. So as you can see, it's just kind of an elegant antique white color for the uplights, and then these lights right here, they're just doing a smooth animation, just something simple. And like I mentioned earlier, I have the static scene for when it's time to dance. Just
oh yeah.
So very exciting parts where we have this strobe right here. So I have a button mapped for the cold sparkler, so I just push a button. It happens. Then I take my hand off and voila, it's off. So all of my fixtures are wireless. I have built-in wireless DMX in my PARs, and these lights I have a Donner dongle. So I do have my Control One kind of sunken into my bun booth. So let me take off the covers just to show you what I have going on. So as you can see here, I have a USB cable, and that's hooked up to a docking station. So my docking station is right here. I have one cable plugged in for my DJ SX2 and one for my Control One. And so all my USB devices are connected through the docking station and connected to my laptop like that. And so I have this cable, a short DMX cable, and it's connected to my wireless Donner DMX transmitter, as you can see here. Yes, it's embedded in the booth. I don't have that antenna sticking out or anything, but it seems to work just fine. My cable management for my lights could have been better, but I have that way because I have to put my lights down during a video presentation during dinner, but then they go right back up as that screen goes back up and everything looks fantastic. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited, so let's get to it. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. And so like always, please support this channel by smashing like and subscribing, and leave your comments and questions down below. And I'll see you in the next video.